I think I'm going live. Is it live? We're having trouble start. What is it doing? Can check it. We're having trouble starting your live video. I do, but I've convoluted everything from what I'm doing. So I'm gonna do that. I thought I had it set up. It's a do not disturb. So. But that's okay. I'm trying to do what you got to do. I don't think you see if you can get your phone. Okay. See if you. Okay, so then just stay on the Wi-Fi. Oh, look! I'm live on the Instagram. They're telling our followers. Okay, guys. All right, I'm live here on the YouTube and the Facebook as well for a little preliminary. Sounds good. Yeah, we'll get that music about there. They can hear us talk. Your microphone is on. Yep. When you're ready. Yeah, so you can pull that closer so I know you. That's good. As long as you're within a range of it. But I was talking right into it. What's going on? Oh, you requested me. Maybe you could be my moderator and make sure when Gordy, Johncock and SharkMouse join. Hello, everybody on the Instagram. How am I doing? I'm getting ready. It's 10 o'clock. I have to go live. Okay, here we go, guys. I'm hearing you. You have to mute. Sorry, I need to be bossy.
It went back. Just turned back on.
It keeps turning back on. Okay, here we go. Right, what's going on? Here we are. Yeah?
Yeah.
I hear your echo or something. Is that what is it? We'll go down to number 1. It's my fan in the background. Everybody, I'm tuning in. We're getting things going here. Michael's...
I don't...
Now I hear you again. What's happening?
Again. Okay, yeah, I just muted myself on this.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, watch your little rig. Block her here. That's beautiful. You got your water. Is this for drinking, cousin? Your water? Or is that for dabbing?
This is for drinking.
Good. All right. Well, here we are. Everybody. You hear the fan in background. I will turn down that one. That's right. Okay. We're here live on the Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. Where am I? Right there. Okay. So, okay, guys, thank you for tuning in. The Doomsday Growers. Let's go through it while you're getting situated, Michael. Oh, we have another request. It's the Flying Stoner FPV would like to join. I'm sorry, cousin. We are doing something specific today. I'm waiting for 2 other gurus to join us, so they will take up the bandwidth today, my friend. Thank you for reaching out. Who was that again? The Flying Stoner FPV. Thank you for following, though, cousin. All right, let's start at the top. The Hydro Giant, Detroit. Thank you for tuning in on the Instagram. The real Gage Green Group. That's you, right here in the house. Is the Michael Fang, the legendary genetic designer himself, guys. If you do not know, you do now. Air Bottom Backs, thank you for tuning in, everybody. Yes, the Master Yoda 207, Hydro Giants laughing at me, Lou E. Lex. Yes, Loki, Mac 15, OG Land, the BDA hey, it's that branding guy that does all those videos for the B Cloud. He has joined. Hello, cousin. Thank you. Faded Frozen. Who else? The Flying Stoner. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Scalp. The Chad. Adam Brook. Legendary Mr. Hashbash is watching. Thank you for tuning in, Mr. Brook. What is going on? The Grow God. Yes, I'm trying to help. The PIF. We have some New York in the house. Yes, the PIF 732. Lakes Vapor. My back is killing me, guys. I have to use other finger. Faded Frozen. Earthman Genetics. The Devil's Lettuce. Hello, cousin. Thank you for tuning in. Doomsday Growers. Steelers for Life. 85 has joined. The Project Delta 518. Is that the new breeder? Is that him? Oh, hello, cousin. Thank you for tuning in. We were going to talk about your genetics shortly that have been new addition to the Seed Bank International. I likey. Of course, yes. Durban Dave. I wonder if that's like Durban Poison. You know, I like the Durban Poison, right? You know. Okay. All right, we've got a lot of joiners here. Oh, somebody else is wanting to tune in. Oh, the Grower's Grown is here. We will let him in. Sorry, Gordy. He's joining. Grower's Grower. Dynamic. Is he joining? I said to let in. We're requesting. Okay, it says. Oh, there he is. Hello, cousin.
Morning.
Good morning, cousin. Thank you for joining us.
Morning, Gordy.
Morning. How are you guys today?
Very good, my friend.
About to take a dab to start the day.
Yeah, Michael. He called me this morning, an hour and a half ago. He said, Are we going live? Are you ready for me? I said, I didn't know you were calling. I thought maybe you might sleep in and stay home. But he came. He drove all the way down. What's up, Gordy? Tell me.
Oh, it's another day in paradise.
It is up there in the Alpina. Up there in the, point to it on your mitten hand. Show us where you are in the state of Michigan.
Up here.
Yeah, up there in the little finger area. If you're not familiar with the Michigan mitten.
Here. Detroit's down.
Yeah.
I'm up here.
Oh, you're up index finger. I see. Index. That's right. Yeah. Alpina, yes. Right there, guys.
Yeah. Half hours directly north of you on 75.
Okie dokie. That's right. It's like closer to the 41st parallel. Which is where I like to be back in old country, north of the 41st parallel. Anyhow, so Michael's getting up some dabs. If you're first time on Instagram, guys, you could also go to the Facebook and the YouTube. I must check right now and see. But I am gone simultaneous live streams on the Facebook and YouTube as well. And you can see full production value of studio. If you go there now, you can see the behind the scenes camera. There we are, right behind Michael there. And then I could also show you some other things like on the screen and that we will be talking about. So if that interests you, when we're talking, you could go check out YouTube and Facebook. So I'm going to make sure I'm tuned in. It looks like I'm live on the Facebook. Everything is working, guys. I'm going to check the YouTube real quick, and then we'll get into it. I'm waiting for the SharkMouse Farms. He may be joining us a little bit later here. Let me shut this off, guys. I'm sorry. I'm still getting hip to it all here. Must check my channel. Okay, it says I'm live. Let's check. We'll mute. Yes, it's muting. We're waiting for something here. I must make sure we're all up and running, guys. Make sure my okay, we're good. I think we're good. Oh, well, shut that off. Okay, we are. Okay, it's good. All right, we're good. All right, so who is tuned in? The Amy and Noah. You have a new profile on the YouTube, Amasteus? Is that you? Yeah. Thank you, cousin. We have the Amasteus, Amy's Teas on the Instagram. This is Michael's partner in crime, the mate of Michael, and she is in the behind scenes here, guys. I want to give her a big shout out. Okay, so we are up and running. The comments are going good, and here we are. This is it, guys. We are here. If you're new, this is a seed to harvest pseudo-apprenticeship with the gurus of growing. That's right, and we are at day 25, the end of. Day 21, the end of week 3, going into week 4. This would be early vegetation stage. So that's where we're at. And just to bring you up to speed, I took the Gordy Johncock's advice, and we started feeding the babies last week, the first feedings of the Cal Mag. That's right. And I did use the cutting edge solutions that good guy Gordy Johncock provided for me. And I did a 5 milliliters to 1 gallon of RO water. Is that correct, Gordy?
Yeah. So the reason that I normally have people start with in seedling stage, well, isn't that rosin look nice?
Oh, it's going to be great, guys.
Sorry, I got distracted here.
Okay.
The reason I have with CalMag is the So as I've described it to you before, cousin, if you think about nutrients inside of cannabis, it's kind of like a ladder leaning against the wall, right? So the bottom rungs of those ladders that we have to use to climb to the top are iron and calcium and magnesium and all of these things. So CalMag is this great blend of a little bit of nitrogen, calcium, magnesium, and iron. So really, it's the basic bottom couple of rungs that get nitrogen fixation moving. Because what we're doing is we're taking nitrites, right? And we're adjusting them inside of the plant to nitrates, which they're actually used to grow and use nitrogen. So iron and calcium is what starts this process. So by giving them that, we've started the immune system. And we've started that digestional process of breaking things down. Now when you come back and you give them a half a strength louder powder next time, they're already having those chemical processes happen. And they've gotten a little bit to start with, and you're just kind of gently rolling into it.
I see. This is good. So when I do the louder powder, just while we're on topic, I will be mixing you said, was it 30% ratio?
Like a 30% is typically fine.
So how will I do the math on that, cousin? Because it's like
2.25 grams of A, 2.25 grams of B.
Say one more time, I cut you off.
2.25 grams of A, 2.25 grams of B.
Thank you. Make it simple for me.
Yeah, no worries. So it's 4.5 grams essentially per gallon to come out at our correct EC. So you would just cut your weight in half. That's the nice part about it being on a scale, right? Rather than weighing out liquids, you're just like, well, I can pour a little here. It weighs too much, pour a little back. Like, math is easy.
Yes, right. It's good. It's good. I like the background noise.
Just plug my seedlings in and let the dirt feed them, and I don't worry about it.
Nice. We're getting the torch going here, guys, as you can hear. Where are we? Yeah. Oh, I like the way that sounds. That's right. Okay. Yeah. All right. It's good. Yeah, I will take the first dab. All right, guys. Yeah. All right. How about a little music for it? Let's do it.
It's a cold start dab, so like you can pretty much.
Okay. Oh, where's the hole? Right here? Oh, right there in the beak. I forget how to do these again.
They're sharp.
Fuck. It's good. I can't right now because I took too much. Oh. Wow. Oh. Jeez. The terpenes, guy. Oh. Hey. I'm not coughing because it's like every time I exhale, a different floral bouquet comes out of it. It's so layered with the terpene profile. I'm used to smoking the flower out of bongs, guys, and that's I'm not used to drawing. And of course, I use bigger apparatus, so you have to suck longer. That was smaller apparatus, and I really torqued it. And I have bad back. I have bad back for the last few days, guys. And every time I cough, it makes me want to pee. Just a little bit. Just kidding. But it's good. It's a good kind of pain. It makes you feel alive. Right? Okay, yeah. So after I'm done wincing, I'll turn down my microphone.
Hey, cousin.
Yeah.
No.
What?
The shark just popped on a minute ago.
Oh shit. Oh, sorry. I'm losing.
Don't worry.
I'm losing my professionalism and tone. Hi, cousin. Oh, my back. Oh. That was a good one. Oh, here he is. Cousin. He's in the laboratory. Oh, what are you growing there? Is that coleus? What are you growing there, cousin? Oh, I see. It's in the shoulder cups. I saw the little bit. Excuse me. Turn down my microphone. That's not good. I think that's it for me. Thanks. I gotta spit out my lungs.
Good morning.
Good morning, cousin. Did you hear us?
Good morning, SharkMouse.
Shark is figuring something out. Wait, can you hear us, Shark?
Fine. Now I got you.
Okie dokie. Excuse me.
And I'll plug that DJ, hang on.
Yes, you're fine. We hear you. Good. It's my coffee. It's like I'm in a big cloud all over again.
All right, I promise I'm here at first to get free. Look out, I guess.
Is it supposed to be that color when you spit up? Red? No, it's not red, but it's awfully green. No, I'm just kidding. All right, sorry, Shark. We have these. Oh, jeez, I'm sweaty. Shit. Oh, man.
Oh, I just wanted to take it down. That did a little hard, did it?
Yeah, so I was saying that I use a little bit bigger apparatus, and of course I smoke the flower, and I'm so used to, like, you know, you don't need to hold it in with dabs as I'm learning. And Michael has a small apparatus, beautiful little parrot here, and I went and hit it like it was a big thing, and I took too much, too fast, and way too much, and then, yeah, I wounded myself.
Yeah, I can tell he's on manual breathing mode. He's got to think about the inhale-exhale process.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I need to get with the Professor Dabber. He is Matt's Medicinals 2.0 on the gram, and he is always there at the Michael's Third Eye gatherings, taking care of the dab bar. Michael will attest to this. He is the professor of dabbing, no doubt, and he has been educating your cousin Nikolai not to look like fool.
So yeah, there's actually when
What
I
is
took
your
my first dab,
what is your preference in dab, I guess, material? Do you like diamonds, rosins, shatter? What's your preference there?
Me? Go ahead.
I prefer right. I'm still real old school. I do press my bubble hash. I have a low temp that I'll press it through like a 225 micron screens. I double bag it and press it. But you know, quite honestly, like I just like bowls of full melt. Though I've been doing this a long time, and I actually ran into somebody today. Like, oh god, I'm old now. So, you know, my issue is that I like almost exclusively smoke out of the flower out of the bong, and it's so counterintuitive to what I try to do because you know I'm all about the terpene profile. That's my goal exclusively. And then I light it with a 660 degree lighter. So like again, like I understand that it's not as productive in my end goal as I like, but there's just something about the way it punches you in the throat I can't get away from. So
yeah. Have you ever tried solar rips outside with a magnifying glass? So you take a magnifying glass in your bong or your bowl outdoors, right, when the sun's out, and you get it just right, and the magnifying glass will actually ignite, and it gives you a
perfectly
nice vapor.
Perfect bowl.
Like you get a lot of terpene profile from it, and
yeah. So again, I think 412 degrees is like the perfect temperature to start cooking off those volatile compounds without risking burning away additional plant material like you would be through the flower, which is obviously the least effective way to consume your cannabis at the end of the day. But talk about old school, like, I still envision sitting in my buddy's garage on a plastic lawn chair ripping that dirty bowl that wouldn't punch through,
Yeah, right?
Yeah, heat it up until it sinks through, and then let's scrape it out for the resin later.
Yeah.
That's the emergency goal for later.
You got hot knives? Have you been around long enough to try hot knives?
My mom used to get so mad. Where are all my butter knives?
Yeah,
you'd see in the one coil element on the oven, like it was blacked out, whatever the rest of it would turn cherry red, but there was this one part that just wouldn't get as hot.
Yep.
Nobody could figure out why. But other than my stepdad was like, you're a fucking idiot. So yeah, I'm old enough for that for sure.
Call it smoking blades.
Smoking blades, yes. Back in the day, I had nerdy friends. I'd come visit cousin from old country, and he had nerdy friends, and they made.
Back in my day, when we wanted to dab.
That's right. They had coil. They made coil. They heat up with a little 9-volt battery, and they heat up the coil, and they had like glass jar. You put over it, but they put the hash or the whatever they had. It was mostly hash, and they would put it on there, and then they'd heat up and then they had the little tube on it. So you put the glass.
Like we had 2 options. It was the Lebanese or the Moroccan.
1986.
Really?
Back in day, in Sierra Nevada mountains.
Was it hash oil?
It was like blonde Lebanese hash somebody smuggled in their vagina from Pakistan or something. Excuse me. We knew hippie that owned health food store. Yeah, she did. I believe they were in condoms. I hope
she was a.
You take a glass pint cup and throw it in the freezer, and then you burn your hash with the cup upside down because the glass is so cold it'll all build up inside, and then you can full of smoke and you can just.
We should try that when you come over next time.
When I was younger, we were taking a trip to the Dominican Republic, and my stepdad stomped on a half ounce of hash on his running shoe and packed it in his suitcase.
Oh.
The intention being that if he was asked what it was by customs or whatever, he would just say, I don't know, I stepped in gum or something. But he got it through, no problem.
Nice.
Well, here's the last hash story you'll need to hear today. I have a cousin from this country, specifically in the Detroit area here, and back in mid-'90s, he was going down to pick up some of these hashish that we're talking about, like a big log, as they say. And apparently he was involved in a bust at the house that took place. So when he came out, they had swarmed, and they threw him around and confiscated what was in his pocket. And he had 2 little logs rolled up in foil. And I believe there was a young female officer, and he tells story like that she peel open and say, what is this? She's trying to smell, and she's reluctant to smell because it's rolled up in log. And he goes, it's shit. And she goes, fuck out here. And he says, no, I'm a fucking weirdo. I like shit. I eat it. And she fucking threw it down on Hood. He scooped it up and left. She said, get the fuck out. And he scoop up and leave with it. I swear, it's a true story because I smoked that hash that week.
That's funny.
It is funny. It's a true story. Anyhow, it's true. Anyhow, I'm still
hash stories.
Yeah, hash stories. Anyhow, a little off topic. Shits and giggles. Hold on. I'm going to check the comments here.
Excuse me.
I have to get us napkins. Stand by. Michael, take over for a minute.
We have a hashish category for the Organic Cup in Barcelona. So it just seemed like a really fitting category considering we're going to like Europe where they really enjoy their hash, you know.
Washing and pressing and extracting is definitely something I need to get more proficient at. Not my strong suit for sure. I like to think of myself as relatively technically capable when it comes to growing the plant, but once it's done, I really don't have lights on fire. So I'm always open to learning from that end.
So you should give me a call at some point when you got some time, and I'll walk you through the process. I've been doing it for a long time now.
Absolutely. Everybody I show, I don't know if you can see what it looks like here, but everybody I show that to says it would wash unbelievably well.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it would. It looks really nice. You know what's is when you go to wash stuff, it's a completely different process. You know, you as a grower want to grow these really tight, beautiful nuggets that have solid, good-looking weight to them and stuff. And you want the exact opposite for hash. You want
something from the inside, right? Like, so you want to be able to get that lower larvae stuff that can actually get washed out through the inside of the flower, right?
You know how sometimes it's like real layered flour product and it's like really stacked layers? Those wash the absolute best because you're able to actually get inside of that material, those trichomes out. And Chip Baker, I have a point. I will smoke your hash. I don't know if you guys saw those comments. But yeah, so you want those looser ones. They just wash better. You get a better percentage.
I got a couple of phenos that turned out like that as well, but for the most part, like some of these tops are like, I don't know, cesium or lead or something.
You know how, like, if you have any that have like a real sandy trichome? It's not real smeary. Those are the ones you want, man. Those ones.
Some of the Relentless Genetics stuff. So I just did finish a run with Relentless Genetics with all his tester crosses. And some of them, while not yielding very well, are very, very.
I don't know anything about my back anymore.
Not super swollen calluses. The node spacing was decent. Nothing nothing, worth putting in a jar for, I would say, but definitely has the profile of something worth taking advantage of. So as opposed to, just sitting there picking off little teeny popcorn nugs, right? Make use of it. But that's not my area of expertise, so you and I will connect and see if you can get me there.
I was going to say, you got my cell phone number. Just call me when you got some time, and I'll run you through it. It's really easy, dude.
What did I miss?
Well, we were just talking about bubble hatch.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
Flower trichome. How are your seedlings looking this week?
They're good. We're here. Excuse me. I'm making sure I have no clouds. Yeah. So we're here. Let me switch cameras for you guys. Well, if you're on YouTube and Instagram, you can see. Now switch. Let's switch to the seedling tent right now. Come on. Switch. There it is. There's the area. If you're on YouTube and Facebook, you see the little seedling tent. I'm going to go over there right now, guys. Let me take Instagram. Oh, I can't because it's plugged in. I will be right back with one of them. Stand by.
Want to take this?
Yeah, I'll take Michael's. This way.
Nice. Shark, how is your seedling start coming out?
I got a few extra ones. You can't really see behind me there, but I've got
All right.
I don't know, like 40 plants back there, but they all came up good, including our run. I'm about, I'd say probably about a week from topping, maybe less.
Nice.
And then once we do, we're going to go into your bags, and off we go.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you whether you tried your seedlings right out in our 70-30 mix, or whether you're going to pop them in after the cup.
Yeah, so once we top them, we're going to get them out of the cups and straight into your mix in the air bottom bags, and off we go.
Nice.
I'm just kind of waiting to see how long my cousin wants to veg them for. In a pot size like that, we're going to go another maybe 4 or 5 weeks. But
the one with those funny leaves.
What strain is this?
It's on the side. It's an A. It's the what is that? A Aqua.
Well, for everybody
No,
watching,
yeah,
your cousin Nick will
like
be back there. So I'll try and pretend to moderate for him.
OGKD
We're all doing a
kind
side-by-side with the same product. It is Grover 70-30 mix. We're using cutting-edge solutions as our fertilizer line. I believe that you guys have the same AC Infinity tents. And I believe
we both have a Cloud Lab tent, and I think we're using the AirBox. We're using the AirBox bag.
Here, you take over on this.
so. It's basically the same type of grow. Shark is in
Talk
Canada
about
for those who don't know,
Right
and
now.
Nick here is again with me. And yeah, so
Potato Head.
how everything goes.
And the goal again for those just sort of tuning in is we're going to see if we can all take our various expertises and our sort of sub niches and help cousin Nikolai elevate and progress his next grow into further progression. We want to see cousin Nikolai take steps forward
Someone from Italy.
from each of our different practices.
It's true, and that's what I needed. You get so much different advice from everybody along the way. You ask and you look, and I have narrowed it down to 3 different styles here, right? Like I have the living soil. I started out with the Detroit Nutrient Company, which is a really loaded up living soil, right? So pretty much one and done for us newbie growers. Near flower stage, depending on size of pot, you might have to add to it, but it's like super simple way. Then you hear about adding top dressings and things like that, like Michael would do, fermentation things, and I don't know, all that biodiversity things and beneficials. And then you hear about the cocos and pushing nutrients and salts. And so now I have narrowed it down, and thank you guys. We will be more specific. Let me get back on task here. I have, right now, I'll show you. This is what I call the mutated one here. Michael says it's quite special, maybe. But anyhow, it's like mutated. Look how it's growing. So I have brought, this is like, the, because at some point I'm going to have to call them
Does
out.
it have 2 sets of families on each node?
Michael?
Yep.
Yes, sir. So, but it's really ripply, like it didn't get enough humidity or something, but it's obviously doing, Well, as you know, I was thinking, you have to call them out, get rid of the weak ones. So that would have been my first idea. But as soon as I give it to Michael, he's studying it and looking at it. What, cousin?
It just.
You canceled you?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
It'd be interesting to see if it maintains that, because a lot of the time you'll see a small form of mutation like that in the seedling. And then as soon as it develops into a monoploid, meaning only one branch is coming off the stem on each side, those little bit of genetic mutations correct themselves.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like there's been a push to see if we can express that diploidism in plants, because there has been shown to be some beneficial increase in yield. But it's first of all, it makes the plant completely infertile, so it's very difficult to propagate that as an expressive lineage for survival's sake. But you're absolutely right in the fact that, for the most part, that's a single genomic breakaway, and that tends to alleviate itself as the plant develops further.
Interesting. Excuse me.
I must be.
You're echoing
again.
On your phone. You got it?
Yeah.
All right, cousin. Thank you. So let me show everybody on the Facebook and Instagram. I will go to camera 2, which is my tight camera. Here you have the tallest, strongest plant of out of the grouping, and then we have the smaller little one that we were discussing about. Oh, it's dripping on me. A little bit of it looks like it's doing some sort of morphine, doing something strange, some genetic mutation, perhaps. Maybe it will be robust. Go ahead.
My pump, sorry.
Say again?
I'm going to mute my mic while my plants irrigate themselves.
Okay, cousin. Yeah, so that's where we're going on. This would be end of week 3 going into week 4. This is, the 26th. I put seeds in the 5th. So this is end of 21 days. Yeah, end of week 3. So I will do some more pictures at this stage. Look how they are turning already, Michael, because I have taken them out of the tent. You can see how the plants are already trying to turn towards the lights of the studio. It's like trying to steer that way. Anyhow, so yeah, that's what we're doing here. So I have some questions for you guys to continue this topic of growing. Let me get to them. I have them. Where are they? The questions for the gurus right here. Day 21, excuse me, let me get the microphone closer. End of week number 3. So I started, Shark, maybe before you came on, I mentioned that I started last week with the new, just 5 milliliters in 1 gallon of the Cal Mag. So for one week, they've been getting Cal Mag. And so next question I have for you. So we did cover this, Gordy, but we talked about the next nutrients I will be doing a 50% solution of the louder powder to give them a bit of nutrients for next week. I'm going to be getting them separated to get ready to grow all organically with Michael and the Earth Stayer. I just got the products there, so I have to work out ratio for feeding them there as well. So that's what's going on. Next week I'll be adding some nutrients at low volume nutrients. Is that what I'm trying to say? Yes. And then we will, so next topic, Shark, and Gordy, we should be talking about topping, right? It'll be next day. At some point we'll be getting ready to top, right, Michael? Like another week or 2, would you say? If this is like the biggest, strongest plant, tallest one,
I bet we all have a different topping technique.
Well, I have read that you take below the 5th node, right? So it goes 1, 2 after, so this would be 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and it just started the 5th node, right? And then, so when they get a little bit more mature and more spacing, then I top that 5th node off. But I was thinking to wait longer because we talked about taking the top and sexing, trying to find out the sex of it. Not sexing. That's not the right term. Sounds sexy.
So from my experiment, we talked about that on our first show.
Yes.
I was immediately well, I'm going to try and experiment with that with the seedling. And I took the top off and I did it, and it's been sitting around. And the plant that I took the top off sexed before the clone did.
Oh. Interesting. Has that happened before?
This is a new technique. I've had a bunch of people who own seed companies and different breeders tell me to do this, and I've never personally tried it. And like I said, it seems like it's about the same. It didn't speed anything up for me anyways. And I had wondered maybe like, you do it when the plant is smaller.
Were you putting the clone into flower?
Yeah, it's directly in 12 and 12. Like 2 weeks now. Yeah, and like I said, the plant in the veg room has sexed out, but the one in the glass is not.
Oh, interesting. So that's
What I missed?
well, we're talking about the getting ready to. At some point, we'll be topping, and Gordy brought up. I bet you everybody has different methods of topping or times of topping or when they top. And I said that I had read about. You wait to it get the fifth node, a little bit of spacing, you take that fifth node, so above the fourth, right? But and then we talked about, I said maybe I should wait longer, so I had enough top to do the check out the sexing, plant in water and see if it's sex. And Gordy say that he did just that, Shark, and the plant that he took the top from sexed before the top did.
So that may have been a stress-induced sexual maturity, which also happens as well. Nothing wrong with that either. It's just the plant's way of saying, well, something may be wrong. I better get ready to push my DNA forward.
Oh, like we were trying to figure out what it was, so regardless of what happened, it did work for whatever reason.
Purposes, for sure.
Yeah, right. So when I top, I will do the fifth node, like you had mentioned, cousin. And when those branches come out, so that'll give you 4 even sets of branches from all the 4 nodes below. And I wait until all of those have 5, and I pinch that top 5th one off one more time.
Oh, okay.
And then it looks like more of a ball. If you saw the Growers Grown the other day, I did a nice reel where I had that plant next to that 70-30 bag. It gives you that really nice rounded 10-12 top plant. And then you can strip really well. And then you just end up with a really nice trellis fill.
So what's happening there, cousin, is inside the plant there's a hormone called auxin that's responsible for vegetative production of the plant and a few other functions. But its main driver is to push plant growth and elongation upwards. All of that auxin is concentrated in the apical stem of the plant, your main top of the plant. And the other nodes are producing sugars in the tops of the plants that inhibit that auxin from pushing those nodes upwards, because in nature it wants to get as high to the sun as possible. When you chop that top off, the auxin production to that apical stem all gets funneled into those other stems, and they all shoot upwards now, all at the same time. So instead of having that one bulba, you get 4 now that think they're the main branches.
So there is also a technique called fimming. And I know people like to make a reference, I missed, right? It's not say bad word, keep it PG-13 on Sundays, try to. And anyhow, so yeah, fimming. And I have tried this outdoors, guys, and I liked what happened to the plant. He gave me 4, right? Explain it. I don't really know how to explain it. Oh, there's the hairdryer, Conair, 1850, warming up the seedling tent now. It's SharkMouse, don't worry, I have it controlled, really dialed in now with the ink birds.
I can feel my pulse already going up.
I know, I don't have the pulse like you, cousin, and I'm running the ink bird. And they're doing quite well. They're super simple. It's even on phone. Absolutely. I was going to show Michael. I have the app working and everything. It alerts me if the humidity is too low. Sorry, getting off topic. Let's go back to fimming.
So the exact same principle as topping is happening with the auxin, with the slowing of the auxin production as opposed to completely halting it to the top. So why it can be beneficial is it's not nearly as stressful for the plant chopping off, missing that node, and takes less recovery time while still slowing that auxin production and allowing more of it to flow to the other top. So while you're not having the exact same biological effect, you're reproducing it without creating as much stress on the plant as actually topping it.
Yeah, and essentially what you're doing is you're changing your ratio. So you have auxins, which are the growth-regulating hormone, and then you have gerbolins, right? Gerbolic acid is the type of chemical that's inside of there, and you're changing the ratio over. So the increase in gerbolic acid causes a more branching on top. So you get more coming out of each node comparatively, and it changes that monoploidism for a second that we had just talked about, where we're only one branch out of every side, right? And it gives you those multiple branches. The reason I don't like the FIM technique is you put all of your stress from all 4 or 5 branches on that one node,
Right.
right? So if you get like, oh my God, this is like a 2-liter size bottle of nugget at the very end of it, you know, it's going to split you right down the middle because you put all of that stress on that one focal point on the stem.
And a lot of the times you'll find people are taping up their stem because you have that wide split down the middle, which can be fatal from a water loss perspective, a pathogen entry pathway, and all sorts of other issues that the plant has to then provide an immune response to deal with, as opposed to spending time flowering. So at the same time, we talked about bending branches and creating some of that mechanical pressure to help it strengthen itself for that process. But we can also go a little bit too far. Sometimes if we split the stem and tape it up, it will come back stronger, but we'd like to avoid that initial stress in the first place because it's diverting a lot of the energy from what we're trying to accomplish.
Because the dry flower is only, 10 to 14% of the total weight of the wet flower. So let's say if that plant dries at a pound, right, for instance,
Right.
it's a 10-pound wet plant, or almost a 12-pound wet plant. So you're putting a lot of weight and pressure structurally.
I did not, I would not have thought about that. But of course, I have split my plants many times outdoors trying different, and I have duct tape on hand. And yeah, you're right, Shark.
Use Teflon. Teflon tape is better because it'll slide off and won't constrict. So I used to wire them shut, and you would notice that the plant would knuckle over top of them. And I guess not necessarily harmful, but with the Teflon tape, it just sort of splits out when it's ready. It makes it easier for everything.
Pro tip right there, Teflon tape. That is new addition to bucket.
I use that white 3M medical tape because it breathes.
Also good stuff.
That's another good one. Easily peels off too, so if it gets too much mechanical pressure from the plant, it'll unpeel.
Interesting.
I use duct tape, right, because it's a really easy fix. But I find that duct tape actually has a mold and bacterial growing property to it, that it stays wet against that stem and it harbors molds and stuff.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, the glue is so tacky, right?
Yeah, and the glue is actually, there's a lot of different species of fungi that can eat a lot of what's in that glue.
Good point, because now that you mention it, I recall the duct tape always having the black spots around this stalk where I had taped. This is outdoor, of course. Anyhow, all right, so let me go through comments real quick, because there were 63, there are 54, 51, but I believe there are some questions. Let me go through real quick and scroll through. It says you all should feed those seedlings. Fat kids love cake. It's right, 1800 ppm CES. He says start giving it 1800 ppm right now, Gordy, of the cutting edge.
Owner of Growers Soil, he's tuning in to watch us today. He is super knowledgeable. He has been growing weed, I think, probably for as long as all of us put together. And he's really pounded on ppm wise. You mean
the Uncle John himself is tuning in?
What's that?
You said the Uncle John himself is tuning in?
No, this is Chip. He owns Growers Coco.
Oh, Growers Coco, you say. I'm sorry.
I feed my seedlings from day one, unless I'm outdoors. And then, but inside, regardless of whether I'm in Coco or, a soil medium, I'm going in from starting at 0.8 EC up to 1 EC, depending on how the plants are looking as soon as they come up out of the ground. They will start to tack on the sugar inside the root to be able to adjust the osmotic pressure that's going on inside that medium. Once I start feeding it, and we're not going to put the plant in a position where it's searching for nutrients, using up all what's left inside its cotyledons, and then having to fight its way through that minor deficiency so early on in its life, right?
Very nice. So let me go through a little bit more. We have the Jacob here. Jacob and the phony Epstein. He say micropore for the win. What is this micropore he speak of? Anybody know? Curious.
That's medical tape. It's called micropore tape.
Oh, right. Okay. There we go. Right.
it allows the air through, right? So it's a small, I think it's 2 or 3 micron holes. So micron is a European measurement of distance. That's a metric style measurement, real small, tiny stuff. So it's got real small, tiny holes that allow airflow in and out. And it's meant to keep wounds healthy and oxygenated and prevent that anaerobic.
Most bacteria are on the scale of 8 to 20 micron, are they not?
Oh, well, you'll have to wait for that answer.
I'm sorry.
He said the most microns on the scale of what?
Most anaerobic bacteria are on a larger scale than that 1 micron, so they can't get through the porosity of the tape itself, while oxygen molecules can still get in and out, allowing for a better healing response at the wound, which is why the tape is so effective.
Interesting. Great. These Joe Mastez. Oh, she says, this is incredible information. Thank you. Yes, great. We also have here, what? Were you trying to get my attention, Michael? You still with us? Michael is, I think he was nodding off there. I think he's really loaded. I can't tell. He has the, no offense, Chinese eyes. It's true.
One of the comments is, I'm baking under these lights. He's absolutely right. It's like showtime in here.
Is it? All right. Okay, so let me get through. Do you all see the study of... Oh, man, I scroll and then I lose it. Okay, here we go. The Who Is Ever asked, did you all see the study about terpene development in the outdoor cultivation versus indoor? I don't know what you make reference to, but I'm sure we would be much interested. Please send me DM. We will discuss for future.
Yeah, I'll definitely read any study you can send my way, that's for sure.
Yeah, send it my way. I'll pass it along to the professor and the guys, the gurus here. Okay, can we find these talks on YouTube? Cousin, you can. You can go to my YouTube channel or my Facebook channel, and there is a recording. It won't look quite like this on the Instagram. It will look like it does on YouTube, which is full production value of studio with an overlay of the Instagram live feed up there somehow. Anyhow, that's what I'm doing. Yes, latest, greatest technology. I'm trying to get hip to it all. Simultaneous live streams on the Gram, YouTube, and Facebook. Soon to Twitter as well. I could do 4. Shark, I might even, if I get the right bandwidth, I could even do like LinkedIn. I would like have 5. It'd be crazy, right? We would reach many people that need to know about the cannabis. That's right.
So let's talk about roots. Did you inoculate your seedlings when you went into the solo cup?
I sure did, cousin. I used the Extreme Gardening Ecos and Mycos. That was provided me last season by those guys, Extreme Gardening. That's right. And what? They go
on it. I'll talk to G about it if you want G on as a guest to talk about extreme gardening.
I do. Tell him he still doesn't owe me anything, but I would still like hat. Because last time he hooked me up, you know how I like my hats. Anyhow, get his attention for me. Tell him cousin is doing good things. I would like to get with him. Go ahead. Oh, yes. Flora Fox, the mate of the SharkMouse, she is the queen of white roots, is she not?
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
So whatever she's doing with the roots and her inoculation process, I can pull out any one of these plants and it'll be stacked in there. I'm sure you saw her last solo cup run where the roots were walking out of the cup. So that's all the product, I guess, of proper watering practices and a good, healthy inoculation of your media, making sure that the plant is healthy. And what did they say? More roots, more fruits, right?
It's true.
Hey, VIP. If you have seeds from the 80s, you are probably going to need some sort of weak gibberellic acid. Stimulate those enough to go through that germination process. It's not an undoable process. You can definitely do it. It's a lot easier than most people would give it credit for. You can Google it real easy, but without that gibberellic acid in the solution, those probably won't pop.
I saw a study referencing the durability and longevity of seeds, and they are a lot hardier than we give them credit for, right? Like they've pulled seeds out of caves that are I want to say 1,000 years old or whatever, and they've been able to germinate with a little processing. So the they're definitely meant for preservation.
I was just reading an article about corn they found in New Mexico in a sealed pot in the back of a cave that hadn't been opened, and they dated it to about 1,300 years ago. And it's this really vibrantly colored, multicolored corn.
The rainbow corn.
It's real small cobs, but like I was like, wow, 1,300 years, that's crazy.
The thing is, to think about that kind of stuff fascinates me. To have been an early sort of societal culture and think to yourself, well, this plant was delicious. How do we get it to come back constantly? And then, cultivating their land in a manner that allows them to sustain on one or two crops perpetually. Just who thought of it? It's amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
We have hold on. We have a comment here from the Sam's House VIP. You guys just made mention to that. I'm sorry. You guys are picking up on this as well. I'm sorry. I start to read and then I realize, oh, that's just what we talk about. Every time I scroll, guys, then I lose my finger and it scrolls back up. You guys are leaving great comments all over. I wanted to try to touch on all of them. Thank you for your support, everybody that out there. We have 59 followers following right now. They're thanking us for this most excellent information, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys for coming on. Your cousin Nikolai's here to bring value to everybody. We have Bigger the Roots, Bigger the Fruits from the Ganja Farms, my cannabis cousin. The ganja police is in the house.
So,
watch out.
Can I be a little pedantic about that? Because I actually made the statement, but then I realized to myself that it often gets misconstrued. So you'll notice that when, in any of my spaces, there's often different media sizes, so different pot sizes for each space. That's very precisely calculated based on how to most effectively use that space. More roots doesn't necessarily mean if I veg a plant out for 10 years, I'm going to get more fruit. It just means the more you can pack in that volume with roots, the more beneficial it's going to be towards the production of your flower at the end of the day. You can do the same volume of flower in 10 1-gallon pots in a shorter amount of time than you can 1 10-gallon pot, if that makes sense.
Man, I'm seeing some of my commercial customers running these 1 and 2 gallon straight cocoa pots with pulse feeding, and I'm getting some of them that are pulling like almost a pound of plant out of a 1 gallon container. And now don't get me wrong, they're watering that like 15 times a day to keep up with demand for that osmotic pressure. But dude, it's like, you would not believe the size of these plants I'm seeing in 1 gallon pots anymore.
You heard my irrigation go off, and you saw the tent yesterday. Like I'm going to pull a few pounds out of that 1 5x5 space, no problem. But that's a 3 minute 7% shot going 4 times, and then 3 more 6% shots. So 7 or 8 times a day, your plant's got to get fed. But that's all based on the volume. I wouldn't be able to control that osmotic pressure in 2 10-gallon pots the same way as I am in the 2 smaller cocoa blocks that equate to just over, 2 liters each or whatever they are.
Interesting, gentlemen. Yeah, that seems to be the way forward with the commercial pro growers. I see.
Leafy cycle got a pound into a solo cup. I absolutely believe it. I've seen some crazy things happening in solo cups lately, but keep on top of that watering because they dry out quick.
Right.
Yeah, super fast.
Right. That's I saw that solo cup challenge someone does. Right. And
yeah, that's almost around you. That solo cup challenge every year. I always want to do it and then set it on a rock wool slab and just like take a knife and cut it off the bottom when I go to show up. But
you should.
What they'll do.
All right, let me go through some of the comments here. All right, so I get pounds out of a solo cup, says Leaf Cycle. Thank you for tuning in, our cannabis cousin. Oh man, these comments come up. Side note: Sesame Street is turning robot. That's really. Sesame Street used to be so good. Anyhow, hey, saludos de seres. I can't pronounce the rest of it. Buenos humos from Mexico. I think that's what he's saying. Thank you, cousin, for tuning in from south of the border. What? Excuse me. Let's go through them a little bit, guys. What are the thoughts on stem and branch popping and cracking? Maybe his long time comment ago. Let me go try to find. There's a lot of comments here. I've got some.
I used to pop my branches. Right, you just go through and you give them a squeeze right underneath the mirror stem, and you just wait till you hear them kind of crack, and you will end up getting a big knob that shows up. And the theory there is the plant sends up so much energy to fix that stem as fast as possible, so it doesn't have, like Shark's saying, the difference in osmotic pressure, and it's not open to the air to get a fungus. But the theory is the plant sends more energy than what's necessary to fix the problem. So you're sending more energy to your meristems by doing so. But to me, I have seen too many people do that and end up with some sort of systemic mold from it that I'm like.
I would say that a light, regular, consistent mechanical stimulation is more than sufficient to achieve the same goal we're trying to achieve with stem popping. You'll see me shaking the net around, or I'll angle the fan once a day so that the top starts flowing back and forth. Just getting that natural movement without actually having to break anything over a consistent basis will provide the same strength in theory, the same energy production in theory, just as a means of countering that force, while not providing that means for pathogenic entryway.
Mm-hmm.
If I could interject right here, I've been holding my finger for quite some time on this question. This is from the Smoky _MCP Ots. I don't know how to say these. Somebody figure it out. But can you touch on germination and light intensity? Maybe I could help with this one because I asked this question in the beginning. But yes, real quick with me, there's several different ways to germinate. I'll let the guys touch on that. But for me, I did it in the rapid rooter. Michael likes to do it in the soil. You could do it in paper towels and put in Ziploc and moisten and let pop out. You could soak in water, a little peroxide solution. Wait for it to drop to or crack a little bit, pull out with tweezers, and then put in soil. But easy peasy way is just drop with the pointy end, right, Gordy? Pointy end down. It's where it cracks open, and then it will push its taproot down and start to go up, if that's right, taproot. But anyhow, soil is easy peasy. And I believe SharkMouse, and you guys can confirm with this, but the light intensity level, if you're inside the tents, it's my understanding it only needs to be around 200 par umels, 200 umels to 300 umel range in your par meter. Is that correct, guys?
Yeah, so you can stay anywhere from the 200 to 400 range without actually getting into any trouble. Just making sure that your VPD is on point as well. Those two metrics correlate with one another very closely. Light intensity will factor into how much your plant is transpirating, and taking a leaf surface temperature is a good way of getting accurate readings, especially on your seedlings. But you do want to make sure that whatever your light intensity is, you're staying within that close BPD range to not stress out the plant's water uptake.
So, and if you're trying to move your seedlings outdoors and you're still in a young tender spot in the spring, it just so happens that the north side of a building in the shade falls to under 200 to 400 umels.
I did not know that. That's beautiful.
It's true.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so if you go out with a meter and you go on the north side of your house or north side of your garage where the sun doesn't hit directly, that's 200 to 400. It's like almost ideal. It's the perfect.
That's amazing.
It's true. I take my InnoQuest par meter last year when you tell me to take the plants out for hardening to do just that, Gordy. And I take my little par meter around and I put it in sunlight, and I was like amazed. It was crazy how many umels the sun had, of course. And then
you're blasting 1,300 ppfd on your little baby seedling.
Oh, you can't eat. Yeah, and then you had to be careful after a week in the shade to bring out only for maybe 20 minutes. Right into the direct sun, and then put them back in because I could see they would were not praying anymore, as they say. What else was so where I'm at now, Shark, is I'm like at 270 umels, and the plants now, as you can see, we're reaching the 5th node, so I could really crank my light up a little bit more and probably take it up near 400, no problem.
So you could even probably, I would say at this stage, push past that to around 500, and then we could leave it there for a little as it starts vegging out. And then, as the plant starts to develop and you start seeing some shade inside the canopy, then you're going to jack it up to 7 and then you're 9, and then we'll hit 1,000 once we go into transition.
And that continually step up in the light, right? It seems like, I could turn my light up on 100 after a little bit and just let them go, right? But when they have that lower level of light, it gives them a reason to get taller, right? Because I always try and tell people the reason plants are getting taller is they're trying to get closer to the sun. They're trying to increase their light intensity. Even a foot makes kind of a difference, you know what I mean, with the sun. So if you have that lower light level, you're giving your plants a reason to get taller. Whereas if you're real close, real high intensity, why would they want to get taller? They're in all the light they would ever need. There's no...
There's been one of the studies that I sort of anchor my data off of that had suggested the photosynthetic capacity of cannabis at a certain rate, at a certain ambient temperature with certain ambient CO2. That rate was 1,500 U-mol at 1,200 ppm CO2 at 30 degrees Celsius. But another study was just released that showed that we created that artificial ceiling through various testing flaws in that study. Leaf plasticity is a little more complicated than we know. Some studies suggest that we can push as far as 1,800 ppm by alternating the intensity through different stages, right? Hitting it hard with newer growth and taking it back down and bringing it back up. It's all really new data that needs to be researched further. But that's all that is to say is that we know what we know and it's serving us really well, but we're still in that stage of research where there's more to be found out about how we're implementing our light intensities and wavelengths and color spectral outputs to optimize what the plant can use. Because right now, we're creating those artificial limits for it based on our testing methods and whatnot.
Yeah, and there is a really nice LED company out there that I'm not going to mention because they have not given any of us free lights yet, wink, wink. But they have a 1,500 watt input, right? And they're like, a Ferrari of light. And I've seen people pull 4 or 5 pounds off one light with it, and it's because they're really like tweaking those spectrums. How can we push this further, but be in a good spectrum that's not causing the plant stress and damage? And, some of the biggest gardens you see online are with this one particular brand of light.
Well, and a good analogy there was, you can drive a soil grow like a Shelby Cobra GT, and then you can drive a Coco grow like a Ferrari, and then a Rockwell grow you can push like an F1 race car. That being said, they can all crash and burn just the same, but some of them are a little easier without that knowledge and experience. You put me in an F1 race car. I didn't know until recently that you have to actually be going fast enough to make the car turn for downforce. I'd crash that car into a wall. I don't know what I'm doing. Same thing with trying to push 1,500 ppm into your tank, right? All of those things your EC has to be on point, your CO2 has to be on point, your VPD has to be on point, your root stacking has to be on, everything's got to be perfect in order to make that one specific metric work, that it's almost not worth it. When we can dial it back to 1,200, be a little more forgiving and have negligibly less results.
Yeah, and the one thing I think we should into the people who are watching is, when we talk about stuff like this, we're talking about extremely controlled environment where we're able to dial temperature at a specific point and they maintain those points. The average home grower, has a limited capacity to maintain environmental standards unless they're really investing in the equipment and the time and stuff that it takes. So when we talk about pushing up to these high light intensities and stuff, you probably won't be able to average start.
So even I have fluctuations in my spaces, and I'm all in as far as trying to manage those environmental parameters. But because of the nature of it being a home with alternating CO2 levels and the HVAC for upstairs kicking on when it does, right? There are variables that aren't at play, in a commercial cultivation. So even with all of my gear and all of my stuff, I still have to fight certain issues at certain times. And that being said, if you're running a tent with an exhaust and a light, you will do great results pushing 900 ppm to 1,000 ppm with no CO2 inputs. And anything you go beyond that is wasted energy as far as electricity consumption and the photosynthetic availability of your plant. So there are sometimes no need to push it as hard as it will go when you can do great things in a relatively safe way.
Yeah, and like you had said, you can compare these lights and these equipment setups to like really fast F1 cars and stuff like that. But a lot of these commercial facilities are, they're growing in a rocket ship.
Right.
Talking about like SpaceX compared to an F1 race car, like there's a massive difference. And most of us just don't have the multiple $1 million it takes to get invested and built out like that.
And homes aren't built that way, plain and simple. Like, your homes aren't built for gas exchange and humidifiers in themselves, unless you're getting a commercial unit, aren't built to handle that type of moisture output in your home. So you're going to have lots of different issues that you're going to be fighting along the way that don't involve, can I get to 1500 ppfd on my plant canopy?
Well, if I could jump in right here, we have somebody that used the little question button on Instagram here, and it says, it says, this is for Sinman Select Genetics. How can you optimize PPF and DLI if you live somewhere where you get power outages each day? That's a good question. I suppose, like your cousin Nikolai just lost power these last few days ago, and it was for 2 days. Luckily for us, cousin has production company and has portable generators. It's quite pain in the ass. It's partially why my back is all hurt of lugging the extension cords and getting them through window and plugging everything in. I was only with, the babies were only in the dark for 4 hours without the light schedule. But I hear of another person that is in the network here of cousins, and he have full grow. He's caregiver, and he had quite a lot of plants that he lost for the powder outage that just went through here. So yeah, it's something to think about, no doubt. So let me just recap that question. If you live in an area where you could lose power, how do you optimize that? I guess you could afford a Generac. That would be great, right? Generac?
So obviously the generator is the first solution, not doable for everybody, expensive, clearly. And if you've got a generator, chances are you're going to end up plugging your fridge and, your other living necessities in as well. I would say that if it's a daily occurrence, they're likely happening in and around generally the same times. I would try and schedule my dark cycles in that area. So, if it's happening at 3 p.m., I would do, a 12 to 12, midnight dark cycle, and then lights come on at midnight, I guess, and let it roll through as best you can. That being said, in a power outage, in a prolonged power outage, I would less focus on light exposure and more focus on humidity, making sure that I'm not getting mold in those circumstances. Because under low light circumstances, cool, low light conditions is where you're going to find a lot of the problems.
So how many days could you actually go, how much time is it, like the point of no return of them not getting light?
I've got 10 days mid-flower during a severe storm last May, and I believe one of them ended up throwing out male flowers, and they stretched incredibly. But at the end of the day, I was able to push through and have, a harvestable flower. It's not obviously optimal. It's not ideal, especially in that critical transition stage when you're trying to control the stretch and node spacing and water uptake and all those good, those good crop steering bits. But, circumstances happen and plants are incredibly adaptive, and we'll find. So a super cool study that was done on Arabidopsis is that plants have the ability to do minute calculations as far as their energy reserves when you try and trick them with dark cycles. So they will ration out that energy more fractally day over day over day in an effort to conserve it until the next light cycle.
Noah, let Duke out.
Yep. Yeah, I would say an automatic standby generator is probably your best bet. It just kicks on, one of the whole house ones, but that's an expense for sure to have installed and to purchase. Solar is an option, but solar again is quite an expense to get installed. I think that Shark's probably dead on. If you track when your outages happen, if it's every day, it's probably when a local factory kicks on or there's some sort of extreme draw, and I would just have my dark cycle during that.
Thank you for that information, gentlemen. Let me scroll through. Thank you for using the question button below on the Instagram. That's the first time that I had seen that before. I've always been reluctant to ask questions myself. What's wrong? You could take call if you have to.
I'm always a little bit nervous when I see something on Instagram I've never seen before.
Yeah, I'm afraid to touch anything these days. I'm afraid I might lose my page. I finally got my account status in good standing where people may be able to see outside of my follower base. I took your advice, Shark.
Then you'll have more visibility than I do.
Say one more time.
Then you'll have more visibility than I do.
Yeah, right?
Me too.
You even too? You, Gordy? They're after you?
Yeah, I got something. You saw my last post.
Yeah, so if you're not knowing, guys, in the cannabis, they're changing Instagram, guys. They're going to make you pay to play. They're going to change a lot of things for the content creators. They know people are trying to be professional about this and monetize and earn incomes being creators. And so they're going to step in. And yeah, so now everything, as Shark has heard firsthand, must be, I won't use their analogy, Shark, but it must be viewable for a child. You cannot have things that if a child
With a little child.
yeah, like tiny child that wouldn't even understand, never mind, but whatever. Yeah,
Doesn't even have the opposable thumb capacity to scroll Instagram, but they better be able to watch it.
I see
yeah,
a lot of time that has nothing to do with growing or anything that's not suitable for a child, and it's consistently rolling on there all the time.
yeah.
I think it's the lack of consistent standards that bother me. Like, I'll see some pages where, I won't mention names again, but there's a specific dude standing in a harvested farm with literally 4 tons of harvested plants behind him holding up a plant, and he's got 40,000 likes on that post. Or another one where a dude will come in and just smoke a joint on the page, and he'll have 6,000 likes in 5 minutes, but my stuff is unrecommendable because it's dangerous for the community. It's the inconsistent standards that I have a problem with, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there is no rhyme or reason to it, and as you could see in the past with the clampdown through all different types of social media platforms, there's just a big discrepancy in it all. Anyhow, you must find some alternative platforms, and I will make mention of this. I have been, for several years, there's been talk of the weed tube. You guys may or may not know about it. It is not quite as big as the YouTube, but it is a cannabis-based community, and I believe I see a lot more advertisements. And so I will be putting my content, long-format content, that will live on YouTube. It will also live on the weed tube as well. I fear that I will lose my content on one of these platforms one day, and I need to have alternative already set in place. So yeah, look for me on the WeTube.
I have been personally enjoying Twitter for the last 2 weeks or so. There's, well, obviously not as all-encompassing. I can't write the types of write-ups that you guys are used to here, but the engagement, I feel, is the same type of community. It's very supportive. It's people tend to come together and just enjoy the plant, as opposed to, some of the other places like Reddit can be a tough place to engage on. You really got to read the room, I guess. I try and stay on Facebook as often as I can. That's a place.
It's changing. They're trying to make, Meta is trying to make Facebook more, like content creator oriented and, not your mom's Facebook anymore. They're trying to get hip to it all, is my understanding. But you're right on these different platforms. But going back to Twitter, you wanted to touch on that. I like Twitter because now that the Mr. Musk has taken back over, he's opened up, the restraints that were put in place. So for me, I don't want to get into the political shit, but for the plant, I believe that will open up things for us in the cannabis community. I believe he is, as you know.
Well, that's where all my sexy flowers going from now on. So
right. Let's push it on Twitter. I mean, let's see what Twitter will do for us. Absolutely. I like the short form content. That's where I will be putting some stuff. We're doing next week. We'll be moving on to the adding a 50% solution of the louder powder to feeding, and then I will be getting with my Earth Stayer friends, the all organic nutrient line that I will be using with the Michael here in the living soil. I will be talking with Blake, and I will be figuring out what formulation of the organics to put in that, because when I get ready to transplant, guys, I have to be ready to do these different types of growing. Anyhow, that's what's going on, and I will be cranking up the par a little bit this week, and yeah, that's about it. But I have to make one big mention here. We have I can't leave Michael out, and I have big mention, guys. I have officially got some of our breeders, I would say Michael's breeders, on the Seed Bank International into the retail establishments here in Southeast Michigan. First one being Hydro Pros here in Utica, Michigan, guys. They're carrying, right now, you could go down there today even, and you could pick up the Starline Genetics, and the Smiley's Angels will be there on Monday. We will slowly be rolling out more of the brands, hopefully, of the Seed Bank International in there. But today, if you go to YouTube and Facebook, guys, Shark and Gordy, you should get on your computer and you could see we're going to, it was Project Delta, right? Project Delta 518 Genetics, guys. You check it out. If you go to Facebook or YouTube, you can see there now we have the alien Judah that has come on the scene. We have Avatar, his genetic, the Avatar, and then we even have the Judas Breath right there. Latest, greatest breeder coming on scene. Michael, maybe you could talk about that real quick a little bit.
Yeah. So Judah's a good friend of mine, and he's been a real huge supporter of the Organic Cup and a lot of the projects that I've worked on. So he has been making some incredible crosses on his own, and so if you go to his page, is Project Delta 518. He's posting a lot of his pheno selections. He's got 3 strains currently out on Seed Bank International, and he's got a few more on their way, including the Watermelon Dum Dums and a few other incredible, flavorful, tasty selections. So definitely check out seedbankinternational.com. We have, I think, 30 breeders on there, all vetted, curated from, the finest growers locally and internationally. And yeah, I would highly recommend giving it checking it out, and then you can use the coupon code COUSIN and save 10% off on all your orders.
It's true. Anyhow, thank you, Michael. It's right. Michael provided the genetics, guys, here for this grow. We're growing the Aqua and
and the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, the Mona Lisa. I have to see the letter. I forget. Yeah, the Mona Lisa. That's right. She's so sexy. This one is the Aqua.
This is the mutated Aqua.
So I'm not going to yank it. I'm going to keep it around, right? Keep it around for now?
Might be fun to see what happens.
For now, I don't have to get rid of it, but at some point I have to make an announcement, guys. Anyhow, I'll let you guys in on a little secret. I've gained some big sponsorship in the last week, and I will be making an announcement shortly, but I will have to kick off another seed to harvest right behind this one, and so that puts a dilemma on me. Because I'm a month into this one, and I only have so much space, but I'll have to figure out. Maybe I'll have to adopt some of these to Michael. Anyhow, I don't know.
Always my problem.
Always a problem, right? It's no problems, only solutions. That's what I say. But
Just build another space.
Say one more time.
Just build another space.
How did you know? Yes, we will be getting into that, cousin. No doubt. I will be relying on all of you guys for a little bit more expert advice, no doubt. Okay, so there we have it. It's we've had a good showing this time. Hopefully, guys, the Facebook or the Instagram will do me no wrong and allow me to save this most excellent recording. But again, look what just popped up. I have to read some comments before you leave, guys. We have a lot of thank yous coming out, but somebody used the question thing. Let me go through this. They took the time. I'm sorry, I didn't see this. I need to get moderator over here to look at this. Lee Cycle asks, has anyone had HP HPV? No, HPLVD ever. So close to HPV.
Hop laden virus.
I don't know how to touch on that one, guys. But
The hop laden virus. So hop laden is pretty common anymore. It transferred over from hops, obviously. It's a viroid that lives inside of cannabis, and it prevents it from fully having vigor, I guess I would describe it as. You'll have these plants that just kind of piss around and sometimes die right off. They don't really produce flower all that well. And it's of actual viroid preventing them from having any of that vigor. It's sapping the energy from them. You can fix it by going back to tissue culture, which is going to cost you somewhere around $1,200 or $1,500. But then you'll bring them some leaf samples. They will take a single cell off of those leaf samples, put them in a petri dish, grow them back out from one cell. And what that does is it reinvigorates the original DNA without the virus locked onto it. And it cleans it of bugs, virus, and diseases. It's a long process. It's 8-9 months probably. And then you have to clone off that plant and clones out. You can't flower the actual tissue culture plant out itself. Otherwise it's garbage. So that's how you fix it.
Why would you go through that process? That would be something that somebody wanted to hold on to a rare strain of some sort, and this would be at a level of.
I wouldn't even say it's for a rare strain. I would just say for the preservation of your own genetic library. It's becoming a widespread issue because all these there's a lot of clone banks just chucking cuttings around, and they're going from house to house. And I like what you got there. Let me get you cutting and selling on my thing. And it's literally being passed around like an unchecked virus. You'll see lots of your favorite seed distributors and breeders. They'll post analysis of their genetics, saying either passed or HLDV free. It's important that you know where you're getting your stuff from first and foremost. It has been shown to carry in seeds now, so they can't show positive in seeds, whereas before it was just clones that we were finding it in. You're going to want to beat your space. Like bleach is the only thing that touches it. If you come into contact with that, isopropyls and hydrogen peroxides actually don't work on HLDV. So, but again, it's not that would necessarily be a step you have to take unless you confirm it as being problematic in your space.
How do I know I have it? How do I know if I have it? If on a clone someone gave me, how do I discover this?
And you would need a tissue sample from 3 separate parts of the plant. But again, it's one of those things that I kind of walk into your space and be like, that plant's not doing right. It does have a visual sort of symptomatic outward appearance to it. Not that it's immediately identifiable as that's it. But you look at the plant and it's like not flowering great. It's very little trichome production. It's got a very hazy smell to it. The vigor is just not there. You can kind of suspect that if all of your other parameters are on, that might be an issue there for you. Yeah. And in that case, you call everything because it's very highly contagious to the other plants.
I got you. You answered my question. It's highly contagious. Get rid of it right away. I see. Okay, we have another question down here. Let me move on. What's the best way to determine whether your buds are dry or not? Oh, well, that's one for you, Shark. You got that canitrol thing in there, and you give them some tech talk.
So I catch some flack for this sometimes because not everybody has a canitrol, and I certainly understand that you don't need to have a canitrol either. Those parameters are reachable. They're just hard to control the larger your drying and curing environment get. The smaller space you can keep that in, the tighter you can control that environment, then the closer you're going to be able to get to your dry target, which is measured in active water or water activity in bound water within your flower. So you'll see a measurement just like within food consumables like cheese, called AW. You want to be below 0.68 AW, which is below the threshold that pathogens can reproduce within that flower in that water. How do we determine that without having expensive equipment and all these fancy analysis? A simple wood moisture meter precisely perfect can be picked up for $50, and you can loosely translate the 10% moisture content as it would read out in your flower to loosely translate to AW, and if you can get it within that range, then you're looking good. Like I said, for $50, it's a pretty good investment for any home grower that's looking to get a good dry and cure down.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Moving on to the... Go ahead, Gordy. Jump in.
I wait until that inner branch snaps. When you get down to the inner branches on the inside of the nugget, if you can bend it and it goes snap, then you're good to go.
That's old school.
And that is the tried and true method. Like, it's worked for decades upon decades upon decades, and if that's what you're doing and it works for you, keep it up. Like I said, if you're looking to get, I want to know what the water content is in my flower, there's the ability to do that with not a super expensive investment. But at this point, having gone through many dry and cures, I'm able to walk over the plant and say, yeah, that's probably ready to be checked now, right?
Copy that. Moving on, I have another question here. Did the plant seed up after 10 days? This is from Always Wired Creations. Did the plant seed up after 10 days? Trying to understand what he is asking.
I think he's trying to ask SharkMouse, who said his lights turned off for 10 days.
Oh, maybe that's from before. Did the plant... Oh, that's what that's from. Yeah, did your plant seed up after 10 days of no light, Shark?
It actually, once the lights came back on, I noticed that it took a good... Like, there was some curling, and the tubular pressure wasn't there because the plants weren't taking up very much water while there was no lights on, right? So all in all, it took a few days before you started seeing that the leaves start to perk up again, and a lot of the damage growth wasn't coming back, right? So now we're sort of reliant on that new leaf growth to do all the photosynthesis for us, which at the end of the day is going to hurt your production, right? But it wasn't irrecoverable.
Thank you for that. The Conair is kicked back on, as you can see, getting it back up to 82 degrees, 65% humidity, Gordy. Variable pressure deficit.
Beautiful.
Yes, sir. Okay, moving on. Next
question.
I
got to go in, man.
Okay, you go ahead. Thank you for tuning in. We'll try to cover this. I'll try to... Thank you, Gordy. Bye for now.
Yeah.
Take care.
Okay, if you could stay real quick, I got a couple more. If not, that's okay. We'll get them next time. We have, how do I get rid of whiteflies, pesky little devils? You want to attack that real quick, Shark?
So you want to attack the larva first and foremost. A little bit of hydrogen peroxide solution into your media, like a bit of a drench, will take care of that. And then a couple of sticky traps if you're looking for a non-invasive means. You could try and attack that with beneficial bugs, but it's not such an invasive pest issue that you can't be resolved with less invasive means.
So we could always use a little bit of the different brands of the Lost Coast or the Dr. Zymes or the Petra Tools Crop Defender. There are some options there. I've tried them all three, and they're all real good.
With a lot of those issues, it's targeting the eggs and the larvae that are the battle you're constantly fighting. The adults reproduce at such a fantastic rate that trying to manage the adults is not a doable procedure. It's all about ensuring that the larvae that are in your media are taken care of before they have a chance to reproduce and create that cycle.
That's right. Yeah, let's get it all. That may spray the underneath of the leaf.
Multiple applications as well, right? So one application generally isn't going to cut it for anything, and you want to keep up with your weekly IPM practice in your garden to keep on not only maintenance but preventative maintenance as well.
It's my what I did, is I do it every night. When I was outdoors doing the IPM, it would be when I had a problem, it was every night until I got rid of the problem, right? And then after that, it was at least once a week or every few days I would go and hit them. Yeah, just when I had time. And then I got a hold of the Petra Tools. I know you have some of their products, Shark, and this is no plug but this excellent tool, guys. It's the microns, right? It's better than just Hudson sprayer, right? It gives you really fine droplets, and again, you must coat everything from top to bottom underneath the leaves.
Make sure you're turning your lights and your fans off when you're doing this. The excess moisture on the leaves being pulled off by the evaporation of the lights and stuff will draw a lot of water out of your plant. So you're going to want to make sure fans and lights are off when you're doing it.
Yeah, cousin Nikolai knows this. He had the fans going in outdoor, and I sprayed some of that, and it's the fans were on. It really coated me really nice. The beard was quite IPM'd. Anyhow, all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. It's been a long one. I want to thank everybody who joined us, and I want to thank the SharkMouse Farms, the Gordy Johncock at Growers Grown, and, of course, the Michael Fang, the genetic designer himself, from coming all the way down here and dabbing me out.
Thanks for having me.
We'll get into the organics next time, Michael. Shark, thank you. I'll be tuning in. I have a shark bite for you coming your way. Again, if anybody has some more questions, if you don't follow the Shark Mouse, go check him out. He does these things called shark bites. Pose a question. Send a video. 10-second question. Get your question answered. If you're scared to ask the shark, ask your cousin Nikolai. I'll do it. Anyhow, all right, guys, I'm going to end it here with a little music, and we're going to sign off here, and I'm going to try to save all this. Again, you could go to YouTube, Facebook, see the recording that will live there, and hopefully Instagram will allow me to save this one. Okay, as always, big thumbs up, comment below, let us know.
Thanks for having me on.
Take care, Shark.
Thank you, cousins. Bye for now. All right, it's a good one. Okay, let's do music. Okay, bye. Let's end now. Thank you. I want to share this video, yes. Get out of here. Okay, guys, I'm going to YouTube and Facebook. I'm going to end it here. All right. All right, we're doing the music. Okay. Thank you for everybody for tuning in on Facebook and YouTube. All right, bye for now. Okay.